So your boy Dickie Hart, he's going to prison 28th of November. No, it's not that serious. It's basically just a date that he has to do something with the courts. And I wanted to just highlight now because, well, actually, it's quite interesting because there isn't a lot of panic in the markets. The markets haven't responded to this news, which is really, really a good sign. So what I'm going to do is I actually wanted to talk about where we are in the markets, and I wanted to discuss. Oops, just give me a second here. I wanted to just quickly discuss this fantastic HFID post here. So this is from HFID, just a fantastic hexagon, really staunch in the community. And I wanted to cover what she's been talking about here because this is something that's been on my mind for a long time. And this is really the sentiment that we're seeing. Somi has been covering this a lot as well. He keeps emphasizing that we're in the then they fight you stage. So first they laugh at you, then they ignore, or first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you. And I've also spoken about this nature of human change in society that it's really quite interesting. The Social Item, fantastic book, brilliant book. And it talks about how quantum mechanics, how change occurs in quantum mechanics and how it happens exactly on a collectivized human scale. And really, when you think about every single change in society, there's this 0.001% who stand out above the rest, and majority of the people are like, no, you're crazy, there's something wrong with you. And then there's this very small percentage that's like, hang on a minute, they're onto something. And then eventually that very small percentage with that 0.001% carries over the rest of the people until that becomes the norm. And so this is what's happening in cryptocurrency. And so this is what I wanted to talk about here because this is a fantastic post. And she says, I'm hearing that a couple of powerful entities have used tools such as the mainstream media, judges, and regulators to enforce scare tactics and inhumane regulation onto us. Number one, kill the demand for blockchain via impossible regulations to introduce their own CBDCs. This is something that we're seeing. I mean, you have to be blind not to see it. And number two, scare off investors via major negative headlines all the time for prices to go down so they, the institutions, could accumulate Bitcoin in big chunks at certain price instead of buying the top and letting the people, aka us, use them, the institutions, as exit liquidity. So the game is we are the institution's exit liquidity. And this is something where people in that world even talk about it. I don't know if you guys know Raoul Pal. He talks about it, that the retailers are the exit liquidity for the institutions. And that's the game. That's the game that's been set up. That's the game that's been played for many, many, many decades. Now the tables are turned. Cryptocurrency is something where really, if you really understand what cryptocurrency is, if you understand decentralized finance, there was this fantastic book that I read from our good mates at CoinGecko, even though they're scammers, but our good mates at CoinGecko, they released a book. It was a PDF document. It was a digital book, and I downloaded it to my iPad, and I've kept it on there. And when I read this, I gorged this in days. Like, it just blew me away. I'm not a finance guy, but this just blew me away. And I became a finance guy once I read this, because the old way is the banks, the middleman, gets all the power, gets all the say. They get all the yields. You borrow money from them and you pay them interest. This is the old way. And we're enslaved to that. They can just do whatever they want. They can make whatever rules they want. Then we've got central banks. Decentralized finance is a democratization of that process. So you become your own bank. You become the master of your own yield. You become the master of your own interest. In a collectivized pool, you can distribute however much you want in there, proportional to your appetite for risk, to generate your own yield. You're not beholden to the banks. This spells the end of traditional finance as it is. And anyone who understands cryptocurrency, understands decentralized finance, understands this fact. It takes a while to get really sink your teeth into that. But once you really realize it and go, holy crap, this actually means the end of the banking system as it is. And it's such an amazing thing in the sense that it democratizes that process, but it's also a really bad thing in the sense that it's going to destabilize a lot of the world. And I wanted to speed up that process, and I was really looking forward to that happening as fast as possible. But I've become a bit more gentle in my approach. The anarchist in me has kind of really become much more subtle, because that's going to harm a lot of people. I want the transition to be much more seamless, to harm a lot less people. But unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be like that. And I don't think it's just going to necessarily flick towards decentralized finance. I think it's going to be somewhere in between the two. But nevertheless, once you see the writing on the wall, you can see the banking system is over. It's finished. It's already dead. It's replaced now. Now we're just in that process of the change. You can't fight something that works better and more equal for more people and more fair. You cannot fight it no matter what. You cannot fight decentralization no matter what. So this is what they're trying to do. So this is what HFIT is talking about. At first, they ignored us. Then they laughed at us. Now, do you think the American government, they're the only ones that are kicking up not the only ones, but they're one of the biggest ones kicking up a fuss and trying to slow this process down, because they know the time of the US dollar is coming to an end. That's becoming a fact now. No matter what, that is becoming a fact due to the nature of decentralized finance. So now they've understood it. Now they've wrapped their heads around it, and they're really trying to slow it down. They're really trying to stop it. And so let's continue with this. So probably the only reason why everyone's been down for this long, it's one of the longest bear markets. Somni also showed us that. Your boy Somni, gosh, what the content he just keeps delivering. I'm also hearing that the DOJ, the Department of Justice, and the SEC is in on this. I don't know where she's getting information from, but come on. You don't even have to have half a brain to realize that this is more than likely what exactly is happening. So by cracking down on high-profile individuals and self-made billionaires, I assume she's talking about our boy Dickie Hart, that have influence and leverage over the elite with the intention of catching the scammers, as a lame excuse for jailing them as a threat, a direct violation of all of our human and constitutional rights. And again, the prices are going down. So this is where we are in the cycle. We're in the depression phase. Everyone's getting depressed. And our good mate here, Access Alive, love you, Access Alive. Awesome content. One of my favorite TA guys in the Hex Pulse Chain ecosystem. I'm just going to bring this up. So he's actually saying that this could likely go down. So this is where we are, pretty much at these levels. Now, he hasn't drawn in the whale sacrifice price, which is 0.00004. If you had that line there, this is pretty much where we are. We're sitting around here now, just below the whale sacrifice. And I think, I look at this and I go, yeah, I would more than likely think that this is going to happen. So he's basing it on the Fibonacci. But his TA is always really, really spot on. But I think that this is more than likely a possibility. Now, if you're getting all these weak hands capitulating below sacrifice price, all us plebs who have no money, who got the 0.00001 rate, then you look at these guys, the whales, who got the even better price at the 0.00004. They're the ones that are going to, there's going to be ones in there that are going to be capitulating as well. There's going to be some weak hands in there. And we've got this date now for the 28th of November. And 28th of November, I'm divorced now, but I was married on the 28th of November, and I had to laugh when I saw that date. I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope that date is a lot better now than what it has been for me in the past. So no hard feelings towards my ex-wife. I do love her. She's a fantastic woman, and we're very good friends. But yes, I found that like really rather ironic. So I hope it's actually a good date for the hexagons, but it could be that there could be a big dump there, and you never know. That's where this dump could come around here. Who knows? But I'm actually really hoping that this does happen so I can accumulate more at these prices. That's my mindset around this. I mean, we're in a bear market anyway. It's not going to all of a sudden shoot up and go to $1 until it gets to the bull market anyway. So the lower it gets, the better it is for everybody else to accumulate. So if your sentiment towards it is changing based on the price, you need to look at your mind. You need to assess and judge and understand what your mind is doing, and really figure out ways of changing that. So the way that I like to do it is by journaling, reflection, meditation, and just observing my mind and being objective about it rather than being in it and thinking that it's real. And really listening to other people in the space, in the whole wider ecosystem around the world, and seeing what their minds are like. And that really penetrates my consciousness. So then I get a newer, higher understanding of how things actually are. my convictions haven't changed. My beliefs in pulse chain haven't changed. The ideas and the beauty of the design, the elegance of the design, it hasn't changed because the price is down. We're in a bear market. Everyone just needs to chill, man. Like, it sucks. Yeah, don't get me wrong. If I was in my first cycle, I would be hating this. If I had all my money, well, do have all my money in this, but I would be hating this if I was in my first cycle. I'd be really panicking. But, you know, if it goes to zero, which it can't, it's impossible. It's not going to go to zero because there's always going to be a core of believers who hold up the price, especially in a community like this. But if it does, it's like, well, okay, all right, I took a punt and it was ride or die. It's like going to the casino. So back to it. So if that isn't the case, it definitely feels like we live in a world where certain group of elites are in charge of the entire financial sector, where they work against us and not for us by insanely regulating everything so much that it kills and defeats the whole purpose of DeFi in order to suppress mankind once again. And yes, just like I was mentioning before, they now see what decentralized finance is. And, you know, Illuminati, whatever it is, I don't know. I don't think that there's this sort of secret group of people. I just think that it's just human nature. And myself, if I was in their shoes and I grew up in those environments thinking that I was somehow special because my daddy was the banker of the Rockefellers or whatever it is, I would also have this same mentality. So I don't judge them for that. I don't think that there's this group of people that are evil. It's just humans. It's just basically you plant a seed under a rock and it's not going to grow. You plant a seed in a forest and it's going to grow. It's just conditions. Humans are no different from everything else in nature, but we keep looking at everybody else thinking that they're special and unique snowflakes and snowflowers. You're just a byproduct of your environment based on the life that you've lived, based on the habits you've inherited from your parents and your ancestors, and based on your body. It's really as simple as that. So regulation is, funnily enough, always being done every time that we, the people, are about to outsmart governments at their own games. They saw that privacy, cryptocurrency, and blockchain was worth trillions and had to ban or manipulate it to control it because it acts as a threat to their financial system that's designed to enslave and not free the people. This part, I'm not sure about, enslave and not free the people. I don't know if it's like a malicious thing. I just think that the system has basically gotten so far ahead of itself, and people who are so deeply embedded in it, I'm not sure that they're necessarily malevolent or benevolent. I just think it's just a byproduct of little steps along the way that have now led to this point where it's like, okay, this system is a beast that we can no longer control, and we're going to do everything we can to try and maintain it. And because it's something that's worked for so long, and it's something that, yes, it helps them maintain their own power, but I don't think it's like something where it's like enslave or not free. But it doesn't matter what I think. It's just my opinion. But I believe that the fight is temporary. Thank you, HVid Hex. I also believe that it is temporary. And here's a lovely picture of HVid Hex, very lovely looking woman. So thank you very much for that post. Thank you very much for sharing your wisdom and always being a part of the community and spreading the good word of this particular community. But just like anything, this is just one community of all the other communities. So I think if you're really panicking and you're really freaking out, a lot of it is going to have to do with how much money you have in the system proportional to your total wealth. So if you've only put 1% in, for example, and this is at these prices and it's freaking you out, then you've got some serious problems. You've got a lot of problems. You really need to work on your mindset. If you put like a lot of your stuff, a lot of your money in this ecosystem and it's freaking you out, then you really need to reassess how you do this moving forward. One, if you can handle the risk of going all in on something like this, and two, if it's wise for your particular temperament. So for me, I actually got over it. So I'm all in. I'm all in. And there was a point though in this process that I did freak out. I freaked out. I was all in and things were going down. And I'd look at my portfolio and it's like, oh my God, look at these prices. And it freaked me out because I was all in. And it was like, this is my life. This is my money. But now it's not. It's just a side part of my life. My life, as I've spoken about many times, that I volunteer full-time to try and help people with their minds. That's my deepest passion. All of this money is just a means to an end. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love it. But it's a means to an end. So it's helped me come to terms with my position, and I'm maintaining my convictions and maintaining and sticking with my strategies and my plans. You really need to assess whether in the future you can handle going in as deeply as you have, or if you need to, spread yourself out into other communities. So if you're all in on just the one community and the prices go down like this, it can affect you, but you also need to be rational as well, because it's not like you look around in cryptocurrency and things are flying and it's only the Hex and Pulse chain community that's looking like trash. It all looks like shit out there, with the exception of Bitcoin and Ethereum, and even they've taken a dip lately, but everything looks like crap. So really just be rational about it. How you were feeling, how you felt in the bull market. I'm going to buy it when it gets low, and it's finally low, and as it keeps going lower, you start to freak out. Don't get caught in those emotions, please. Like, really learn from the people who are the kings of investing. Learn from the Warren Buffetts. He didn't become a multi billionaire because he succumbed to his every emotion. People who are successful have high degrees of emotional intelligence. You need to learn to develop that. So listen to the right people, understand your own mind, and understand that how you feel is definitely not the truth. You really need to be acting against it when it comes to investing. So again, not financial advice. This is just my opinion. I hope that's helpful. And our boy Dickie, let's hope he doesn't go to prison. Let's hope we're all in this together, and we're going to stand behind him. So much love to you all, and enjoy the rest of your week.